The marine powers bestowed upon her the ability to manipulate fate itself, granting her control over the elements and the destiny of those around her. With newfound power at her disposal, Mona orchestrated a series of events that led to her stepbrother's blindness, ensuring that he would never pose a threat to her. Once upon a time, in a kingdom called Dana by the Sea of Mona, there lived a prince named Alexander, destined to rule the land. He fell deeply in love with a beautiful maiden named Isabella, and their union was celebrated with joy across the kingdom. Isabella gave birth to a daughter, and the daughter was named Mona in honor of the sea. The birth of Mona brought immense happiness to the life of Alexander and Isabella. Their love story was one of passion and devotion, with Alexander and Isabella sharing a bond that seemed unbreakable. However, tragedy struck. Isabella fell gravely ill when Mona was just 5 years old. Kingdom healers were called, but she didn't get any better. Alexander also called healers from the neighboring villages, but the condition of her health only got worse. Despite the best efforts of the kingdom's healers, Isabella passed away, leaving Alexander and Mona heartbroken, devastated by the loss of his beloved wife. Alexander was faced with the daunting task of raising Mona alone. They lived alone until duty called, and so Alexander had to secure the future of the kingdom. Under pressure from his advisors, Alexander reluctantly agreed to marry another woman to the widows and physically challenged. Showing love and care to her kingdom, it was the Yam Festival in the kingdom of Dana. The kingdom chiefs and the royal family were all seated, waiting for the entrance of King Alexander. When the king was taking so long to come out, one of his aides was asked to fetch him. However, the aide got to the king's bedchamber, met the king fully dressed but lifeless on his bed. Tragedy struck again unexpectedly. This time Mona was 22 years old. The king, a day before he passed, expressed regret to his family for neglecting Catherine and Kwame, but that left a thorn between. Mona's grief and her desire to claim her rightful place as ruler, the kingdom's chiefs, wary of a female monarch, refused to acknowledge Mona's claim to the throne, citing tradition and precedent. Undeterred, Mona sought guidance from the mysterious forces of the sea, desperate to fulfill her destiny. In a daring move, Mona made a pact with the marine powers, trading her soul for the power to overcome her adversaries. She beseeched the sea gods to grant her the strength and cunning to outmaneuver her stepbrother and stepmother, who stood in the way of her ascension. In a twist of fate, Mona's wish was granted, but at a terrible cost. The marine powers bestowed upon her the ability to manipulate fate itself, granting her control over the elements and the destiny of those around her. With newfound power at her disposal, Mona orchestrated a series of events that led to her stepbrother's blindness, ensuring that he would never pose a threat to her rule. Kwame, bittered by what befell him, lost faith in himself. Catherine was also so hurt by the terrible event, but insisted that Kwame should stay strong no matter what, and assured Kwame that the gods of the land would surely heal him one day. 1. The Muna made some enchantments, then and marched straight to Kataran's bedchamber and casted her out of the palace. She also banished her from the kingdom forever. The kingdom chiefs, after much arguments and consultations, had no choice than to crown Mona the king. And so Mona became the first female king in the kingdom of Dana, villagers murmured, but they could only submit to authority. Mona's thirst for power and vengeance blinded her to the consequences of her actions. As she reveled in her newfound authority, she failed to anticipate the repercussions of her betrayal. Mona, who was once loved by the villagers, became a monarch the villagers couldn't reckon with. She became the bitter fruit of Alexander's and Isabella's love story. Kwame, with his new fate, would always go sit close to the river of Mona every evening. One day, while Kwame sat by the river, a child fell into the rushing waters, his cries for help echoing across the banks. Despite his blindness, Kwame leaped into the river without hesitation, guided by an unseen force that compelled him to act miraculously. As Kwame reached the drowning child, his vision was restored, and he emerged from the water unharmed. The villagers hailed him as a hero, and news of his miraculous recovery spread far and wide. Enraged by her stepbrother's good fortune, Mona confronted the goddess of the river, hurling insults and curses in her direction. But the goddess, offended by King Mona's arrogance and disrespect, unleashed her wrath upon the King Mona, dragging her into the depths of the river, and so the reign of Mona as a king ended drastically. In her desperate quest for power, in the aftermath of Mona's demise, Kwame was crowned king in an elaborate ceremony attended by the kingdom's nobles and commoners alike. As he assumed his rightful place on the throne, he vowed to rule with compassion and wisdom, honoring the legacy of his father and the memory of his beloved stepsister. And so, peace was restored to the kingdom, as the cycle of power and betrayal came to an end, leaving behind a legacy of hope and redemption for generations to come. The end. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video and also subscribe to this channel. Do well to also turn on the notification bell so you will get notified once we upload a video.